Larry, are they lying or are you lying?
Sir, in this investigation, it is my opinion that we did not let guns walk.
You're entitled to your opinion, not to your facts.
You're entitled to your own opinion, but not to your own facts. Strong words at Congressman Darrell Issa's hearings today on the ATF's botched gun running operation, where it became clear that officials allowed more than 2,000 guns to enter Mexico, many of which ended up in the hands of drug cartels, and one of which may have killed an American federal border agent. All this while keeping officials in the dark at the United States Embassy in Mexico. How much did administration officials know about this? And how could this possibly have happened? Here to pull back the curtain on this outrageous story are two ATF agents who blew the whistle on this scandal, Vince Cefalu and Jay Dobbins. Gentlemen, you're both courageous guys, and we at Freedom Watch commend your work. Let's get down to what the government knew and when it knew it. Jay, to you first. Were you scandalized to hear the chief of the Phoenix Bureau of the FBI say he knew nothing about this when he testified today?
No, you know what? These executives, the executives at ATF, these guys are counterfeit leaders. They're counterfeit executives. Most of America, after the testimony they saw of Bill Newell and Bill McMahon, wouldn't trust those guys to mow their grass, let alone lead an international firearms trafficking investigation.
Vince, is this a common perception of the leadership of the ATF and even the FBI on the part of those of you who are on the ground and doing the dirty fingernail work, that the people running the agency don't even know what the heck they're doing?
Well, it clearly is on the part of ATF, and if it weren't for the chairman and the ranking members in the committee's commitment to this, this would still be going on. This has been going on for years, and hopefully we can stop the others from suffering the reprisals and retaliation Jay and I have trying to expose this for the last 5 years.
Jay, what did you and Vince do to expose this? How did you learn about it? Who did you tell about it? And how did the people you told about it react to your telling?
We first learned about the involvement of the firearms in the death of Brian Terry, the Border Patrol agent here in Arizona, and began to expose that and knew that it was wrong, that those firearms came through the hands of ATF's investigation, and that we had a dead federal agent, you know, in the desert in Arizona with the responsibility on ATF for that happening. And, you know, Bill Newell and Bill McMahon yesterday, these guys took what we have come to know as Fast and Furious, and they basically put lipstick on a pig and are trying to sell America that it's a supermodel, that they did nothing wrong, that everything's beautiful and great. And even yesterday, after the hearing, off the record, Bill Newell was heard to say that if he had to do it all over again, he would do it exactly the same. And that flies in the face of his, what I believe to be insincere condolence to Brian Terry and to the Terry family that he was made moments before.
Vince, this is just insane that the government would knowingly allow gun shops to sell heavy-duty weaponry to criminals or people with criminal records who would resell them to Mexican drug cartels, who would use them to shoot at federal agents in order to help sell drugs at the border. When you, Vince, learned of this and repeated its absurdity to your superiors, what was their reaction?
The typical reaction inside the Bureau was cover up, manipulate, protect, defend, make excuses, minimize. We've seen the evidence of it already in the hearings. Bury your head in the sand and it'll go away. Retaliate against those who are bringing it to the forefront and are obliged to by their oath of office and as citizens of the United States, and it'll go away. I've never seen, yesterday was the lowest point in my career as an ATF agent.
Jay, are you and Vince still active duty agents? Do you still do the work of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, having exposed this awful experiment and having combated your superiors on national television?
Yes, absolutely. We're both still ATF agents. And with what Vince said, I think yesterday what was so sad is that two federal agents, Bill McMahon and Bill Newell, raised their right hand before our Congress. And when Congress asks you a question and you say that you don't know or you don't recall, when you do know and you do recall, that's perjury. They perjured themselves before Congress, and we've prosecuted Martha Stewart and Scooter Libby and Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens for less.
Wow. Vince, how far up the food chain do you think this goes? Do you think the head of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms knew about it? You think the head of the FBI knew about it? Do you think the Attorney General of the United States, who boasted to his colleagues in Mexico in 2009, knew about it?
Oh, I'm absolutely convinced, and I think the evidence bears out, that our entire senior leadership either ignored their obligation to report this travesty, or were participatory and all the way up through the highest ranks inside ATF. Beyond that, I think the chairman and Senator Grassley are doing a diligent job, and they're going to get to the bottom of how far outside the agency this went.
And we certainly hope they do. The two of you are courageous guys, and we thank you very much for joining us. Jay Dobbins and Vince Cefalu. Thanks very much. Speaker
Thank you,
John
Judge.
Boehner can't seem to get his own party to reach a